My dear students of 11th class, and today we are continuing with a role of macro and micronutrients of certain of which we have discussed the most of the macronutrients, how they are going to be important and how they are getting absorbed by the plants for the subsequent use. And as you already know that there are certain criterion for essentiality of the elements which are, and some of which are absolutely essential for the plant growth and the metabolism and required in the major proportion, and that is why they are called as the macronutrients. And some others, few others are there which are used in traces or required in traces by the plants and hence are known as micronutrients. And previously we have discussed the role of the some of the macronutrients, and today we are going to deal with the role of the micronutrients. And macronutrients, as you know, are the macronutrients for the plants are the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, calcium, and magnesium. And whereas the micronutrients include iron, manganese, copper, molybdenum, zinc, boron, chlorine, and nickel. And obviously these micronutrients are required in small proportions or in traces by the plants for their proper growth and sustenance and all the metabolic activities. So we are discussing one by one the role of the macronutrients as well as the micronutrients, and today we are going to take up the micronutrients. And of the micronutrients, firstly we will deal with the iron. Plants obtain iron in the form of ferric ions. You know that all these mineral nutrients are absorbed by the plants from the soil through roots. And likewise, iron is also absorbed by the roots in the form of ferric Fe3 plus positive ions, and it is required in a large amount in the comparison to the other micronutrients. Out of all the micronutrients, this iron is comparatively required by the plants in greater quantities or greater proportion, and it is an important constituent of proteins involved in the transfer of electrons like ferredoxin and cytochromes, and about which we are going to discuss later in this plant physiology portion when we will take of photosynthesis and respiration, as I have previously talked about. It is reversibly oxidized from ferrous to ferric during electron transfer, that is the iron. It activates catalase enzyme and is essential for the formation of chlorophyll. So this is a vital element among the micronutrients because as being the component of the chlorophyll. And second one of the micronutrients is the manganese. It is absorbed in the form of manganese ions, that is Mn2 positive ions. It activates many enzymes involved in photosynthesis, respiration, and nitrogen metabolism. The best defined function of manganese is in the splitting of water to liberate oxygen during photosynthesis. So manganese is also having a vital role to play, though it is required in small proportions and is a micronutrient. And then comes the zinc. The plants obtain zinc as Zn2 positive ions. It activates various enzymes, especially carboxylases It is also needed in the synthesis of oxygen, the plant hormone. So, all these elements, though required in small proportions or traces, have an equal part to play in the regulation of the metabolic processes as well as the normal growth and sustenance of the plants. And then the copper, it is absorbed as cupric ions, Cu2 plus, and it is essential for the overall metabolism in plants. Like iron, it is associated with certain enzymes involved in redox reactions and is reversibly oxidized from cuprous to cupric, Cu plus to Cu2 plus. And then the boron, we have heard about this boron a lot, and it is absorbed as Bo3 negative or B4O7 2 negative divalent negative ions from the soil, and boron is required for uptake and utilization of calcium, that is Ca plus 2 plus positive ions, and membrane functioning, that is plasma membrane functioning, as well as the membrane of the organelles, pollen germination, cell elongation, cell differentiation, and carbohydrate translocation. This is a vital element among these micronutrients. And then the molybdenum, plants obtain it in the form of molybdate ions, molybdate in MoO2 2 negative, and it is a component of several enzymes including nitrogenase and nitrate reductase, both of which participate in nitrogen metabolism. Then the chlorine of the trace elements, this chlorine is the last one which we are going to take up. It is absorbed in the form of chloride ions, Cl negative ions, along with sodium and potassium. It helps in determining the solute concentration and the anion-cation balance in cells, and it is essential for the water splitting reaction in photosynthesis, a reaction that leads to oxygen evolution of the oxygen. And that is how these trace elements or the micronutrients are vital for all the metabolic activities which are going inside the plants and are the components of the important biomolecules that sustain the plant life. And thanks. Have a nice day.